tournament today with a 76-56 win over Bradley after losing twice to the Braves during the regular season. Dick Versace and J.J. Anderson on hand to watch in St. Louis, but all eyes are on Vince Green here. Vince has got the ball, but not for long. The no-look to Greg Dilligard. Three-point play. Birds led 26-19 because of that. But the Braves seesaw in front, scoring the first 10 points of the second half. Philip Gilbert knocks down the jumper. Bradley by one at that stage, and then later it's Gilbert from Marcellus Somerville. This one's a three. Gilbert finished with 16 in the game. However, Trey Guidry lights a fire under ISU. Boy, did he. 22 points in the second half after none in the first. 45-38 Birds. And then Guidry, apparently Trey likes driving in St. Louis, puts them up 11, and the 10th-seeded Birds demolish Bradley 76-56 and advance to the quarterfinals against Northern Iowa tomorrow.
Bradley came out and threw a huge punch in the second half to start the half, going on an 8-0 run in about a minute. And, you know, earlier in the year, 5-6 weeks ago, we would have been like, here we go again. And now, right now, we were fine. The guys knew we just needed to settle down, make some plays.
The two regular season matchups for the Illinois State, and East St. Louis native Philip Gilbert playing in his old neighborhood. That's a three. Gilbert led Bradley with 16. Marcello Robinson chipped in 8 for the Braves. Here he hits the jumper. ISU led by 4, 29-25 at halftime, however. But the Braves scored the first 10 points of the second half to reclaim the lead. Robinson again, this time after the steal. But the Redbirds got 22 points from Trey Guidry and made big play after big play in the second half. The Redbirds shot 55% from the floor after the break. Neal played for 3 here, and the Redbirds played today. Vince Green to Greg Dilligard for the jam. Bradley took the first 2 regular season meetings between these schools, but the Redbirds had their way today. That's Marcello Robinson driving and scoring for the Braves. He had 8 points. Philip Gilbert loves to play in his hometown of St. Louis. He had 16. Redbirds were up by 4 at halftime, and then Trey Guidry took over the second half. 3 there. 3 over James Gillingham here. Guidry with all of his 22 points in the second half. Again, he frees himself up from Gillingham and knocks down the outside jumper. And then just for good measure, Vince Green ahead to Trey Guidry. He can jam, and ISU stuns Bradley by 20 points, 76-56.
Earlier in the year, 5-6 weeks ago, we would have been like, here we go again. And now, right now, we were fine. The guys knew we just needed to settle down, make some plays, and turn the tide.
We stayed tough. We got some stops, and then we went on a run of our own. And we just knew that if we stuck together and worked on the things we worked on in practice this week, that we could sustain that run.
They executed better. They played harder. They had more of a sense of urgency. And we played like we thought Illinois State was going to give us a win. We didn't play like we were trying to go get a win.
The Redbirds now move on to play second-seeded Northern Iowa tomorrow night. Bradley's season is over with a record of 15-16.
In St. Louis, it is Arch Madness, the 10 seed. An upset victory yesterday. Illinois State beating arch rival Bradley against the 2 seed, the Northern Iowa Panthers. And that a signature play, a tip-in by David Gruber to give Northern Iowa a 4-2 lead.
Well, he's smart enough to realize that when his big man that was guarding him went to help out on the drive inside, that he just went and pounded on the glass and looked for the offensive rebound. So many good things happen offensively when you have guards that can get into the lane on the dribble, draw that defense over, really puts the defense at a disadvantage.
Little weave action, great defense by Crawford. One-on-one against Guidry. Eric Crawford with his first 2 points. You know, Northern Iowa reminds me a little bit of Wichita State in the fact that they can smoke you from different spots on the floor. Crawford, 24 against Iowa. Ben Jacobson had 22 against this Illinois State team. Brooks McCowan, 24 against Creighton. You have to defend all 5 guys.
Well, it's tough to figure out where you're going to help off of because they have shooters that can score in different spots all over the floor. Nice defense by Snyderman staying down, trying to draw the charge in the post. You know, something I think that this Northern Iowa team has done since last year is last year they were known for their offensive capabilities. This year they've added the defensive end as well.
And they'll surprise you. They're a bit more athletic than they might appear. They've been a lot better on the road this year, too. Jacobson long on the pull-up.
State struggling a little bit here in the half court to find good looks. They are a team that is hot and cold. You get them hitting some shots, moving on the perimeter. It'll be pretty tough to guard.
give and go. Dilligard again to the basket. All 4 points for Illinois State belongs to freshman Greg Dilligard.
Nice movement without the ball. Trey Gidry going baseline, and Dilligard just mirrored him a little bit there in the paint. Once the defense again got pulled off, he was open.
Nice feed inside, and Gruber will go to the line.
Well, we keep talking about the ability of the guards to penetrate and what that does. Watch what happens here. He's going to go baseline, and he's going to draw the double team down to help. He's just going to roll into the paint and look for the shot. Watch the little pick up top. Draws the defense over, and Dave Gruber open inside for the nice pass.
Gruber, a tough kid, has been playing with a lot of pain. If you notice, he's got a cast on his left wrist. He broke a bone in his left wrist. He was advised by the doctor not to play. And he said, "Are you kidding me? I'm a senior." I'm playing. Is my head still attached? I'll play. But having a broken left wrist, not so fun when you play inside.
Even with that broken bone in the wrist, he gets 16 points in that huge win against Southern Illinois. 9 boards to go with it as well. And when you watch his game, he's not holding back.
And a 3, and that's the other thing they will do to you. Matt Schneiderman will step out and shoot a 3, and there's nothing that'll give an opposing coach a headache like a post that can shoot from the perimeter.
Well, nothing more tough to guard than a trailing post in a secondary break like that. It's not a fast break. It's more of a secondary break. You're inside thinking about the drive, and you got the big man trailing a little bit. Defense forgets he's up there, and if you got the ability to hit it from the outside like Schneiderman, it's a good weapon to have on the offensive end.
Missouri transfer, Najib Eccles getting a basket. And Illinois State with 6 points, all from, well, unlikely places. It's to the guy that's really they're laying off of, whether it's Dilligard or Najib Eccles. Gruber, deep catch. Pulled out of there by Dilligard. Eccles with a step up and under. He averages 6. He's got 4. Dilligard averages 5. He's got 4. Good penetration to getting Schneiderman the benefit.
Again, nice look by Brooks McCowan on the all-freshman team. Again, just getting past Illinois State on the perimeter. We said early one of the keys for Illinois State was going to be able to defend the ability of Northern Iowa to put the ball on the floor and drive.
Alert play by McCowan. They get 2 free throws. He gets fouled by Alexander, and that's Alexander's second personal foul. And there's an example of Northern Iowa improving on defense, not just getting a steal, being in the right position and looking for opportunities on the defensive end.
Out in the passing lane, something you didn't normally see from this Panther team. Deny on the wing.
McCowan came of age with a 24-point performance against then unbeaten Creighton at the Unidome. A former Mr. Iowa basketball. As Neil Plank comes into the lineup now for Illinois State, a transfer from Wisconsin.
Moser going deep on that bench already, starting to see some foul trouble. Dana Ford in the game as well for Illinois State, and he has not seen a lot of minutes for this Redbird team as of late. But they're already starting to pile up some fouls, and neither one of these teams that we're watching here tonight are very deep.
John, an 80% shooter, shoots 2 blanks at the line, allowing Illinois State to trail just by 4 with this possession. How about Najib Eccles and Dilligard both going right at the cup? And Arnold trying to follow it up inside. Right now, Pipe, Illinois State is answering with the inside game. They're going right at the stomach of Northern Iowa.
And what I like right now that's happening out of both Dilligard and Najib Eccles is they're not taking what Northern Iowa wants them to do, and that's take that 15-footer. Instead, they're putting the ball on the floor, taking a few dribbles, getting more into their comfort range as far as shooting the ball.
Greg McDermott looking for answers inside, still leading by 4. We've played just a shade over 6 minutes. Almost 69% at the line, misses them both. It's play on, 12-8 Northern Iowa. Pete Schmidt, another Wisconsin transfer, working a two-person game with Stout.
Nice defense on Ben Jacobson by Neil Plank.
And a step out, a turnover on Pete Schmidt of Northern Iowa. Matt Schneiderman has the only three-pointer in the game thus far, and Northern Iowa has used it to take a 4-point lead early in St. Louis.
State as well, but it's really the big men so far that are holding the battle for Northern Iowa. Gruber and Schneiderman 5 each, and for Illinois State, Eccles and Villegard 4 each. So both teams not finding much success outside. Work the ball in the paint.
Arnold ISO'd inside against Stout. It's a travel. You know, you're right. But we could say your assertion about Northern Iowa being much better defensively. When Illinois State has played its best basketball in a 10 and 18, it's been up and down, but they've won 3 of the last 5. They were way better defensively than they were a year ago.
Oh, no question about it. This was a team that really struggled on the defensive end last year. I don't think they're quite as good maybe offensively this year as they were last year, but sometimes when you have to get back to the basics and establish the fact that if you watch basketball enough, you know defense wins games. It might not be the thing that everybody wants to see, but you have to be able to defend.
Footnote, Southern Illinois at the bottom of the page. They have been outstanding defensively. Schneiderman's half hook is short. Illinois State getting stops, but they can't cut into this 4-point lead.
Again, another good possession defensively by Illinois State.
Eccles is going to the rack now.
He's a point center. Taking the ball from the 3-point line. But you know what happens when you get that much space? You know, it's one of those things that, I don't know, I'm kind of 50-50 on the proposition of playing totally off somebody, because when you do that, like what Northern Iowa is doing right now, they're not guarding Eccles at all. But what happens is he's all of a sudden an outlet. At any time that you're having problems, you know he's going to be standing there wide open. And the other thing is, if he has the ability to put the ball down on the floor and make a play happen, now you've really got your defense in a fun.
There's 2 team fouls on Northern Iowa.
2-3 zone by Northern Iowa.
Nice skip. Ford doesn't shoot it much. Plank wants it. Ford has it yanked out of there by John Little. This is out to Illinois State. Teams that are great rebounding teams, not Northern Iowa, just hate to get out rebounded by somebody like Illinois State. It happened to Northern Iowa at their place at the Unidome earlier this year. 4-point lead for the Panthers. 11:52 remaining in the first half. Our Prairie Farms Missouri Valley Conference Scholar Athlete is Brody Darren of Creighton, a senior from Harlan, Iowa. Brody Darren, a 3-time Valley Scholar Athlete, a 3.7 in exercise science. Academics are important to the Missouri Valley Conference. Let's salute Brody Darren, today's Prairie Farms Missouri Valley Conference Scholar Athlete. His Blue Jays lost earlier today. The door has swung open for the rest of the league. Creighton has won this tournament for the last 5 years. It's not going to happen this year as the Blue Jays taken out by Southwest Missouri State.
Very Ensign squad really did everything they needed. I tell you what, you look at Creighton, they're the team that struggled this season to score points, but the number of points I think that Southwest Missouri State put up on their defense was probably the biggest concern in that game.
And you'd still think Creighton would be an NIT choice.
No question.
20 wins. Green with a 3 off the weave dribble. This kid has played much better. A senior from Chicago going through a coaching change in your senior year is not easy. But it's like the light has come on for Vince Green.
Well, he's taken leadership of this team. He's averaging 15 points the last 5 games, but more importantly to me as well, he's averaging 5 assists to go along with those points. What that tells you is he is involved on every possession. Illinois State countering with their own zone.
Stout in the high post area. Gruber in there fighting 3 guys. That's going to be a foul on Northern Iowa. This to me looks like a reaction to subbing by Greg McDermott with Porter Mosier going to the zone. That's going to change because the horn's honking, meaning.
Well, Schneiderman comes back in, gives him more ability to shoot the ball. He can shoot it from deep, whereas Grant Stout only 1 of 4 on the season from 3. So all of a sudden you got another 3-point shooter and Schneiderman on the floor. You got Ben Jacobson now who can shoot it as well from the outside. So see if Illinois State sticks in that zone or not.
Green, nice quick move. Little punch and kick. Ford wide open is Eccles. Najeeb Eccles made headlines when he said, I'm transferring from Missouri to Illinois State. This is what Illinois State thought they were going to get in Najeeb Eccles.
Well, he played catcher that time in the paint, just hit right on the money by Dana Ford with the strike. Watch that Northern Iowa defense. 4 guys converging on the ball. Not going to help you defensively.
Jacobson trying to end a dry spell for Northern Iowa and can't.
Good pursuit by Dana Ford. Got right out on Ben Jacobson's shot.
Vince Green, a little Allen Iverson that time, just arching it up over the top of the big guys.
He's got a look of confidence about him right now. He's a lot of energy.
The 10th seed leads by 3 over the 2 seed.
Nice recovery by Illinois State.
And Gruber gets a badly needed basket. Northern Iowa had gone 5 minutes. And they get Gruber to the basket and an and one opportunity. A reminder, if you're hooked on going fast for less, get hooked on Charter's high-speed internet service and enjoy a connection up to 50 times faster than dial-up. Sign up now, pay only $21.95 a month for the first 3 months. Visit charter.com or call 1-888-GET-CHARTER and get hooked. Offer ends April 3rd, 2004. River misses the free throw. Northern Iowa with problems at the line pipes. They are 1 for 5. Northern Iowa 1 for 3 from 3 and 1 for 5 from the foul line. Guidry can get it going.
Just waiting in the wings, isn't he? Just sitting back there, being pretty patient actually for Terry Guidry.
Northern Iowa calls timeout. Illinois State celebrates as Porter Mosier trying to pull off something that's not been done in this tournament. A 10 seed advancing to the semifinal.
Well, the second shot will always hurt you. Dilligard boxing on the weak side, looking for the long rebound, and he immediately turns and kicks it out. And Trey Guidry, he's got that shooter's mentality. He knows when his big guys catch that ball inside on an offensive rebound, and if he just kind of swings along the perimeter, they might find him for the open shot.
Guidry yesterday was incredible. 22 points in 1 half. And really had that, a span of about 15 minutes or so. He can get points in a hurry.
Well, you know, when they went on that big run in the second half against Bradley, he was 18 of the 20 points in that run for Illinois State. So obviously he can get some points in a hurry.
10-2 run, as you see, for Illinois State. Redbirds leading by 4. Crawford trying to create. The Panthers would tend to shoot.
Northern Iowa a little out of sync right now offensively.
Deep 3. McCowan flanks it off the flange. And it's going to be a foul. It's going to be on Northern Iowa.
Boy, I really like the freshman Greg Dilligard. Had the offensive rebound down the last time, got the shot to Trey Guidry, and that time doing a nice job of keeping Gruber away from the basket, keeping his body on him so that when he had to go for the offensive rebound that he drew the foul.
It's a pretty good looking 10 seed right now.
Yeah, not bad, are they? You know, this Illinois State team's had some games that were theirs that they just couldn't quite finish. Had some bad breaks. You know, a team, again, like you mentioned, first-year coach, they're going to struggle a little bit. And then when you get some bad breaks, some bounces that don't go your way, and you lose games, you hurt a little bit confidence-wise. But you look at what this team has done down the stretch. Well, they've been right in there in a lot of games. At Wichita State, senior night at Wichita State, they were right in there, ended up losing by 6 in that game.
Northern Iowa just 1 field goal in their last 8 possessions. Crawford, little guard post up, and he gets it down. He's got 4.
Northern Iowa does so many different things to isolate players in different positions. And one of the things that they do also, when they're trying to isolate somebody, look at the weak side, because they're trying to get like almost a 2-man game from the opposite block. They'll look to, if you double on them or go to them, help off, they'll have a guy sitting on the wing, the perimeter 3, looking for the shot.
Cowan had a steal earlier. He thought there should be an over and back call on Vince Green.
Well, he stayed on his tiptoes, otherwise it would have been. Those heels would have came down. That was over in the back.
Plank with 1 on the shot clock. Dilligard.
Again, Dilligard, he's doing a great job of, once that shot goes up, he holds his position. He does not allow Gruber or Snyderman to push him out and get more space. And the ball bounces his direction, he's right there.
Illinois State, nice curl by Guidry, pops it in for 3. Guidry with 6. Illinois State Pipes has out-rebounded Northern Iowa 14-7.
Going to win games when you're giving up that many rebounds. How about Trey Guidry, though? When you watch him, the first few times I saw him play, he would shoot the ball and his body wouldn't be turned to the basket, and I'm thinking that he's forcing it, but that's the way he does it. He doesn't need to get around. He's so quick with the release. He's got that right arm and shoulders straight to the basket. He might just be a little cockeyed with the rest of the body, but fundamentally he's got what needs to be going to the basket going there.
He transferred from North Carolina State, where he played for Herb Sinde. Gruber trying to keep Northern Iowa in it. He's got 8 of the 18 Panther points, and here's a hole. Greg McDermott didn't like the call. And they're going to write a traffic ticket on Brooks McCowan. That's his first. 15 fellas, immediate timeout. Greg McDermott elevates his team to 2nd place in the Valley. Right now he is upset with his team. He is in the face of his 2 best rebounders, Matt Snyderman. Holds us back with Chris Piper, Savas Center in St. Louis, Illinois State. And Northern Iowa, Illinois State, the 10 seed, saying 10 seed this, leading 21-18, and just out fighting Northern Iowa on the boards. And that's when we saw before the break Greg McDermott get right in the grill of Gruber and Snyderman.
Well, when you're 6'8", as a coach, you can get right in their face. You don't have to look up to them at all, but that's the 2nd time now that he has gotten right after those guys. Dilligard inside, having good success on the glass. Trying to get his big man to board. He knows how important it is to be able to keep Illinois State off 2nd chance opportunities, because what will happen is they get that offensive rebound, they're going to get shots from the outside.
It's going to be an offensive foul. It's going to be on Eccles for an illegal screen, his first foul. 16 fouls. Let's take a look at how the Valley finished in the regular season. Brought to you by Edward Jones. More than 130 years of experience helping individuals build financial security. Edward Jones.
Well, just a little gap from this guy and the rest of them. 17-1 on the season. Tremendous job by Southern Illinois, Matt Painter.
But we need to say that one was Northern Iowa.
Yep.
Final game of the regular season, and that allowed them to have the tiebreak.
And it wasn't close. I mean, it pretty much was a game that Northern Iowa led from start to finish. I mean, it wasn't a blowout by any means, but at the same time, Northern Iowa just took care of business right from the start.
It was spankage beginning to end.
Well, it was a game that you go down the lineup for Southern Illinois, they just did not make shots at any spot.
Northern Iowa called for an illegal screen. They're going to give it to Gruber. That's Gruber's first foul. .5:15 to go in the half. Blank trying to create something for Vince Green. 12 relatively early points. Northern Iowa scored 6 points. Over a long time span. Not enough of that. Ben Jacobson drilling the shot.
His first 2, you knew it wasn't going to be long until the leading scorer for Northern Iowa able to hit his shot. This is a kid, a sophomore. He's on the Valley's most improved team, which kind of shocks me a little bit because I thought he was pretty darn good last year.
Guidry forcing that one. And actually, the Redbirds forcing the last 2 shots. 1-point lead for Illinois State.
Well, if we've seen anything in college basketball this year, and as each year goes by, it's more often than not the team that has the most possessions where they didn't actually force a shot that end up being successful.
And since Greg McDermott's tongue lashing, Northern Iowa playing with much better effort and leading by 1. Dilligard traveling. Post defense by Grant Stout.
Well, Marcus Arnold also not on the floor right now for Illinois State. That gives them a 4-guard lineup, 1 guy inside, and they have not been able to get anything going offensively with that change in lineup.
Rhoda Mosier's lead is slipped away. Now trails by 1 to the 2 seed. And ranked 15th in the nation. Big win by a large margin over Evansville, and then Crate upset by the 5 seed Southwest Missouri State. The other semifinal bracket waiting to be filled in. The winner of this game will play the winner of Drake and Wichita State to follow this contest. A little soft press shown by the Redbirds.
It's a little show. 1-2-2, drop back to the 2-3. See how Northern Iowa reacts to it. A different look. Try and take them out of one of their set plays that they'd called at that timeout.
Jacobson, a shooter, getting a lot of attention. Gruber and Stout gets his first basket. Grant Stout, a freshman.
Well, his first bucket against Illinois State this season. He was scoreless in the first 2 games against them. Nice little pass across, but probably even better catch by Grant Stout.
Guidry.
Tom Little, nice defense against Guidry.
Just 6 points for Guidry on 2 threes, but going to the basket is Green to draw a foul. That's on Schmidt. No match for Vince Green.
Yeah, too quick. Got to give Vince Green a little more space than that, and if you do, Vince Green's going to pull up and hit the 3.
17 fouls on Northern Iowa. This will be 1 plus the penalty for Vince Green. He's only hit 42 straight free throws. 6 of 6 yesterday. He gets the bonus here, his 6th toss. Blake Ahern leads the nation foul shooting, and he's in this tournament with Southwest Missouri State. This string now, one of the best in Valley history. Vince Green, 44 in a row at the line. It's so nice to have when you're a coach. You go, well, these 2 are good. All right. What do we do?
Yeah, especially at the point guard spot, too, as well. A guy that can run a little bit of numbers. Look at that behind the arc this year for Northern Iowa. 20 attempts per game. This game only had 4 looks from the outside.
Gruber with the follow. 13 first half points for David Gruber. Already 1 over his game average.
And Brooks McCowan, again, a nice pass to start that series. He is really doing a good job of getting this Northern Iowa team easy looks inside.
They back off Eccles to double team Dilligard. And Grant Stout going to be called to the foul.
And let's take a look at that last pass from Northern Iowa. Brooks McCowan up top. Look at how much space he's got to go through here. They're worried about the double team coming off here. It's going to help. He's going to cut to the basket. And a nice pass by Brooks McCowan gets him the spot. All created because of the good pick down on the baseline, which made the defense help out to deny that wing shot, and a good read to go to the basket by the big man.
Najib Eccles a little bit different than Vince Green at the line. He's 46%. Big news. 7 points for Najib Eccles, and he's already over his game average for the year.
You know, my problem was I could never remember all the stuff in like a big choreographed series like this, getting ready for the free throw. I'd always kind of mess it up. You know, he's going to spin the ball here, wait, dribble, So somewhere along the line, I'd screw that up and get off rhythm.
Yeah, you're saying you couldn't do it twice in a row.
That's right. I'm smart enough for that. I just get the ball and try and shoot.
Well, indeed, as you might think, one of two. 26-24, Northern Iowa.
Got to be able to get to the free throw line to practice on those kind of things as well.
Well, you pull a paper out of your pocket, go catch it, spin it, bend my knees, spin it again.
You get the little, you tape, you actually could, I guess, write it down on the little tape at the quarterback.
Gruber, block shot. Crawford has it knocked out of there by Dilligard.
Greg Dilligard has gotten so much better since we saw him in early January. He'll be a heck of a player here in the Valley.
McCowan reaching in on Green. Bodies to the floor. Illinois State. A tie-up. The arrow goes to Illinois State.
.13 on the shot clock. A lot of hustle going for the loose ball. Brooks McCowan again in there initiating it. He's really having a good first half right now for Northern Iowa. Jump ball going to go Illinois State's way, and they're going to Porter Moser's going to call a timeout and try and set something up with 13 seconds on the shot clock. A minute 17 left in the game.
Two upstart teams will play the next game. The 3 seed Wichita State. The regular season favorites, but they played like it in February. They were awesome, winning 10 of the last 13 games. And they'll go up against Dr. Tom Davis's Drake Bulldogs, a team that finished in the 6th position. And actually, just like these two teams playing now, Drake won at Wichita State. Wichita State won at Drake, and that'll be an enjoyable game. But Dr. Tom Davis, now we've seen it in the NFL with Dick Vermeil coming back and Joe Gibbs coming back and Bill Parcells coming back. Dr. Tom Davis came out of retirement and has restored the pride in Drake basketball.
No question. You know, early when you saw that Luke McDonald was not going to come back for his senior season for Drake, you about wrote them off and decided they weren't going to have any chance at victories, but they've done a nice job there with Drake. And that Wichita State's still playing for a little something against Drake. That loss at home against Drake early in the season for Wichita State kind of put them in a little bit of a meltdown for a while. It took them some time to get out of that.
Two teams that are fun to watch, though. If Wichita State gets it going, they'll shoot it as good as any team in this league. Game tied at 26 on a Guidry layup. Jacobson lowers his hand. A push on Illinois State. And this will be 1-1 for Northern Iowa.
Well, bad in a lot of ways for Illinois State. You put Northern Iowa at the free throw line in a possession that you had coming back your way. Najib Eccles picks up his second foul. Now you're going to have to substitute, put him on the bench. Most likely along with Marcus Arnold. And that's what Porter Moser's going to do. He's going to bring in Neil Plank. Not so critical at this point that you're going to go to the smaller lineup again. You've got 41 seconds left to go in the game. You just definitely do not want to lose the two big men for the second half.
Gruber, great first half, 15 points. Northern Iowa is the Valley's best free throw shooting team. They shoot 74% at the line as a team. Gruber, a first team All Valley selection, 15 points, 4 boards in the first half. His team leads by 2. 5-second differential. Schneiderman saves an easy basket.
Northern Iowa gets away with one right there. David Gruber was calling switch on Matt Schneiderman. Schneiderman did not hear it. He stuck with Neil Plank as well. Nobody guarding Greg Dilligard. They're lucky they didn't give up 2 points there.
Guidry missing the runner. And Northern Iowa will throw the last dart. Crawford, the transfer from Bowling Green with a basket at the buzzer. It's a 4-point Northern Iowa lead. And the 2 seed. Northern Iowa, after trailing a good deal of the first half, leading Porter Moser's team at halftime, 30-26. Tom Ackerman getting ready to check in. Let's go to Tom Ackerman with Greg McDermott.
Coach, big basket right at the end of the first half to get you a little momentum.
Well, we're playing offense, okay. We're not defending and rebounding the way we need to play if we want to win this game.
What about the tightness of the game and the low scoring, just nature of it?
Well, it's been a low possession game, and I think that has more to do with the low scoring than anything. Both teams are really filling each other. I think both teams have played, fairly well defensively. We just haven't rebounded the basketball.
Thanks for the visit.
Thank you.
Guys?
Yeah, Tom, that's going to drive McDermott crazy because everybody knows how good Northern Iowa is on the boards. Our chats with the coaches brought to you by Mercy Health Plans, providing innovative health coverage that empowers members to take responsibility for their health. Visit mercyhealthplans.com. Porter Moser's team is playing much, much better, but Northern Iowa with a spurt at the end, leading at halftime, 30-26.
Of 30-26 over Illinois State. David Gruber of Northern Iowa with half of his team's 30 points. Gruber has 15 in the first half. An exciting game right here. Perhaps the surprise of the tournament up to date has been Illinois State's win over Bradley yesterday by 20 points, the largest margin of victory ever for a 10th seed in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. And today they're sticking with the second seed, Northern Iowa. Let's take a look at our all-conference team. All-conference honors. The Prairie Farm Scholar Athlete of the Year goes to Michael Lindemann of Creighton. An outstanding season for him on and off the floor. His year came to an end conference-wise this afternoon as Creighton loses to SMS in our second quarterfinal game. The all-bench team captain, Trey Guidry. What a day for him yesterday. And he and the Illinois State Redbirds are hanging around in this one, down only 4 at the half. The most improved team captain goes to Marcus Arnold, also of Illinois State. And last night, not to anyone's surprise, the Rawlings MVC Coach of the Year goes to Matt Painter of the SIU Carbondale Salukis. His Salukis did the job today, winning 93-67 in our first quarterfinal matchup, and they will meet in the semis with the SMS Bears. Coach Painter going up against Coach Hinson of SMS. That one will get underway tomorrow at 2:30. And how about David Gruber so far? 15 points at the half as Northern Iowa leads this one by a score of 30-26 over Illinois State. Table at home and away. The score is about even, a 4-point lead for Northern Iowa. And if you look at the stats, for the most part, it's even. The only large discrepancy, if you want to call it large, the turnovers. Illinois State's turned it over 6 times, while the Panthers have only turned it over 3. The bench scoring has been a big benefit for the Illinois State Redbirds so far. The transfer from Missouri, Najib Eccles, has come off the bench and scored 7 points. The average is 6, so he's already done better than his season average. Not bad for Najib. We'll see what he does in the second half. We're getting ready for the second half of action here at the Savage Center in St. Louis. Looking forward to it. Can Illinois State hang with the Northern Iowa Panthers? We'll see. We'll come back.
Mitch Holthus back with you along with Chris Piper. That little scolding that Greg McDermott gave to his 2 inside guys changed the game.
Made a big difference. They were really getting beat on the boards, and all of a sudden they tightened it up. But when you look at all the numbers throughout the first half, both teams pretty close to each other. Pretty well played first half for the most part. Both teams shot the ball pretty well, didn't turn it over.
Let's go to Tom Ackerman with Porter Moser.
Coach, a back and forth first half. Your thoughts on that first half?
Well, I thought Gruber inside really hurt us. I mean, he had 15 points. You know, you have the question, do you double team him, then you leave Schneiderman open for threes? I thought we guarded the three-point line well. They're such a good shooting team, they only made 1. We got to stop Gruber inside. He's got 15 of the 30 points.
Again, that perimeter defense, you do have to be proud of that.
I'm pleased. Northern Iowa is so good offensively, and I think we're guarding that. We got to do some things to stop Gruber inside, and I think we'll be fine.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Tom.
Back to you.
All right, Tom. Our chance of the coaches brought to you by Mercy Health Plans, providing innovative health coverage that empowers members to take responsibility for their health. Visit mercyhealthplans.com.
Well, no question, Porter Moser's right on the money. They defended the 3 extremely well. Northern Iowa only 1 of 5. I think the number of attempts is the most important number there. This is a team that will generally get about 10.5, and they have had only 5 looks, and most of those were forced from the outside.
Usually 7 makes a game on the average, and as you mentioned, just 1. Hit 15 against Drake in a game this year.
Well, and you take one thing away, though, you're going to give up another. And one of the things that they're trying to do is defend Gruber inside with just 1 defender, not doubling on him, because if they double him, they're going to kick the ball out and hit the 3. So far, Porter Moser is going to stick with that strategy, just going single defense on the post inside.
Illinois State got a stop to start the half and then threw it away in the open floor.
Illinois State, not good enough team, I don't think, to throw possessions away. You get in the second half, you got to be very frugal with those opportunities.
Gruber, Arnold, 2 great jobs defensively on the first 2 possessions inside to David Gruber.
Arnold doing a pretty good job of holding his ground in there, making Gruber be the initiator of the contact.
Alexander playing with a bad back. Out of bounds to Northern Iowa.
You know, Greg Alexander was non-existent in the first half point-wise, coming off a big game where he had 15 against Bradley. And there's one of the reasons that this offense for Northern Iowa is sputtering just a little bit. Chris Foster hurt his knee in practice on Sunday. He is out for the rest of the season.
How about this? This kid broke his hand last year, played through it. This year, in the one practice they would have had between the Saturday and Monday game, he tears his ACL.
Now, big loss. He tough player, played the game hard, had the ability to drive and create opportunities for other guys on the floor.
Little inside out. Crawford gets a 3. Just a second. 3-point make from the half moon for the Northern Iowa Panthers.
Nice job by David Gruber, recognizing that he had no shot inside, but instead kicking it out. And that's the thing that Porter Moser is concerned about. He does not want to create opportunities on the perimeter by the ball going inside in the paint for Northern Iowa.
7-point lead for Northern Iowa. Arnold. Offensive foul. They had him in front of him and behind him, and the behind guy takes the charge.
Well, and you see the difference in the 2 postmen. On this end for Northern Iowa, he kicks the ball out, David Gruber does. On the other end, Marcus Arnold lowers shoulders, goes in, and he picks up his 3rd foul. Got to be able to recognize when you do not have the power inside to be able to kick to somebody who's open.
Foul problems limited. Marcus Arnold in the first half. He has yet to score, but Gruber's got plenty. 17 for David Gruber. Timeout. Illinois State and Porter Moser, because the Panthers have their biggest lead of the game. 9-point lead for the 2 seed. 17:42 remaining in the game in our first evening session quarterfinal game.
Fantastic here tonight. 17 points. Watch this play here. Now Marcus Arnold is right here. Gruber is here. Gruber's going to go back this way, but Arnold kind of comes out like he's going to overplay. Gruber reads it. Watch on the pass how Marcus Arnold comes up and Gruber goes back door. Easy 2, and Marcus Arnold gets to think about it on the bench because he was immediately replaced in that timeout, and Najib Eccles is in instead.
Eccles stripped. Cowan got a hand in the cookie jar. This is about the time in the game yesterday when Illinois State made a run at Bradley, but instead they're seeing the opponent nail.
There is a fundamental thing in defense called jumping off to the side of the ball, and Illinois State has not done that. And David Gruber just going over the top right to the basket. I think that's going to get Eccles a seat as well.
Billigard can't hang on to it. Out of bounds to Northern Iowa. 11-point lead now for the Panthers. And I'm sure David Gruber's doctor is saying, okay, this is why he wanted to play. Again, playing with a broken left wrist.
Well, no way you're coming out. Senior? Tape that thing up and go. Got a long time to get over that one. Better job that time to Najib Eccles, making David Gruber go behind him. One of the other things that's kind of helped Northern Iowa, not a lot of pressure on that passer when Gruber has cut to the basket.
Redbirds needed a stop. They get it and a board from Dana Ford.
Right now, Illinois State needs to find a little bit of offense. Mr. Instant Offense is on the bench right now for the Redbirds. Trey Guidry. Greg Alexander has had no points here tonight as well, and Vince Green almost gets the charge.
Instead, McCowan gets the foul.
Now this is about the point yesterday afternoon that Illinois State started to turn it on and made a big surge against Bradley. let Northern Iowa get too far away. They are just patient enough on the offensive end to make you go crazy trying to defend them if they get a sizable lead on them.
Good defense. Gruber swatting it away on the lob to Dilligard, and this goes out to Northern Iowa.
Well, the ball screen is something that you're seeing more and more of. Now watch over here. Schneiderman actually helped out on the screen. His man Dilligard goes back door, and David Gruber does a nice job of rotating from the weak side and helping out. Schneiderman helped out on the pick up top, and then Gruber helped him out on his man underneath.
Schmidt runs off the screen, misses on the three. But Illinois State cannot score.
Not as much energy on the offensive end here tonight for Illinois State as what we saw yesterday, you think?
No, not at all. The question is if they've got an offensive run in them.
Yeah, they got to get Trey Guidry going. He can give you 12 points in a hurry.
Jacobson.
How bad. You know, he just lulls you to sleep. Looks like the kid next door throwing newspapers on your front yard, gives you a little head and shoulders fake, a little crossover, and all of a sudden just pulls up right in your face.
From Sioux City.
Sioux City has a propensity for making basketball players, don't they? Especially guards.
Yeah. Funk from Creighton, Nate Funk. And a young man named Kurt Heinrich.
Not bad.
Dude, okay in the NBA.
Marginal.
Northern Iowa's threatening to run away with this one now, up 13, and they're going to go to the line with Ben Jacobson.
Bad thing for Heinrich. He'll probably get overlooked as bad as the Bulls have been this year, and he's been fantastic for him.
Dana Ford fouling, it's amazing. We've talked about it so many times of how many great players have come out of the state of Iowa. Not just in the country, but to this conference. And Creighton had all those Iowans, Ryan Sears, Brody Darren.
They have great coaches at the high school level and the AAU level, I think, is what makes it. It's not something in the water. It's the guys that are teaching these guys how to play when they're younger.
No question. Iowa State and Iowa have had their share, as well as Drake and Northern Iowa in this conference. Illinois State's in trouble. Greg McDermott has got them cheering in the Cedar Valley. Alexander, none for the game. Guidry, only 8. Marcus Arnold, no points.
Well, Illinois State had success scoring out of timeouts yesterday, and there they get 2. Get the set play set up. Now they're going to do a little full court pressure, see if they can't kickstart themselves a little bit, get that last wind, and try and make the push.
Held ball. Arrow goes to Illinois State. Todd Cover, the great SID here at Illinois State, was saying, you know, he was saying when he said Illinois State does a great job. Many times they'll score out of timeouts, and that's a sign of a good coach. The ratio of times they can score either on inbounds plays or after timeouts.
Well, one of the few times a coach can actually control what's going on the floor is when you're coming out of a timeout. Dead ball situation, you're able to get all the guys in the right spots. When you're in a fluid game, it's hard to get everybody in the right spot. That's why teams with great point guards are so good, because the point guard is supposed to be that coach on the floor and get the guys in the right spots.
John Little injured, limping off the floor. Illinois State trying to make a run here, down 13.
Marcus Arnold back in the game now. Paid his time. See if they can get something going back inside.
Dilligard, good kick out to Vince Green.
Well, did the right thing that time. Got the ball inside, drew the defense, kick it for the 3. Have to stop him on the defensive end, though, for Illinois State.
Schneiderman with the board. Illinois State's not getting those stick-back opportunities either that they got at the beginning of the game. There's a 3 for Pete Schmidt.
Just another one of the great shooters for the Panthers, 43% from the outside.
Started his career at Wisconsin. Kick on Jacobson resets the clock. To look at Ben Jacobson. This Panther team only 5-11 in tournament history. They can get to the semis tomorrow, winning this game. It'll be the first time since 1997. They did make the finals in '94 and lost to Southern Illinois. Matt Miller in now to run the point, giving a rest. Within screen, and Trey Guidry gets the bucket.
And he really wanted the ball. They set a double screen for him inside in the paint. He came off of it begging for the ball. Matt Miller passed him up, went around him. Trey Guidry said something to him. And they find him on the opposite end, and Trey Guidry makes his own play.
It's one of those where Trey Guidry looks at Matt Miller and says, here's a tape of yesterday's game.
Yeah.
Now, watch this and get me the ball.
Did you forget about that 22 I had in the second half? The thing about Trey Guidry as well is if he's smart on the offensive end and he doesn't have the shot, he creates an open shot for somebody else just by his sheer aggression on the offensive end looking for the shot.
He fumbles the catch. Curling off a screen, or he would have been loaded up and ready to go. Instead, it's a turnover.
They were counting almost a sheer three there, and instead you get the turnover.
Offensive foul, Jacobson pushing off. Gruber's had enough rest. He's back in. And Vince Green gets a little coffee break, and he's back out there. Hard cross by Green. There's that little floater he hit in the first half. Not this time. Strong board by Crawford.
Makes a big difference for that Northern Iowa team, doesn't he? Good Crawford, athletic enough inside, strong.
The All-Valley newcomer team are going to transfer from Bowling Green. We won't talk about that shot, though.
No, slippery. Ball's a little slippery.
11:43 left to go. The 2 seed on their way to advance to the semifinals. Greg McDermott's club is up double digits now. Guidry fans one over to Green. Illinois State looks like they're losing their legs just a little bit.
Yeah, they just don't have that last little step. They're about half a step slow right now defensively, and don't have that oomph to get it over the front of the rim. Exerted a lot of energy in that second half against Bradley yesterday.
And truthfully only play a 7-man rotation. Ooh, nice steal by Ford. And good hustle by Brooks McCown. Down Vince Green and uses his height advantage. It's his first basket of the game.
They'll give the assist there to Greg McDermott. Holds up the fast break, sets him out, spreads out the floor, and tells Brooks McCowan just to attack the basket, create something.
Well, there were days when this guy had his reign through the valley. Dick Versace, who coached the Hawks at Bradley. Now in the NBA. A little different hair when he coached in the Valley. He had that poofy disco look. Bradley, though, had some great teams. 18-0 team. I'm sorry, 16-0 team back in 87, 88. Last undefeated Valley team. Prior to the run this year by Southern Illinois, they were beaten by this Northern Iowa team to keep them from that unbeaten Valley record. Marcus Arnold is finally in the scorebook. That's his first 2.
Had 5 boards in the first half.
Cowan, quick foul, trying to double down. And he's going to be whistling for his 3rd.
One thing that Marcus Arnold has not shown in this game is the ability to throw the ball out of the post when he's had the ball in there and been double teamed. Brooks McCown just goes right down on him and attacks him, and Vince Green is standing at the top of the key with the wide open three. Marcus Arnold would help himself out a little bit if he's able to keep his head up and read that defense.
Eccles, quick spin and a score. That's what he was doing earlier in the game.
And again, Northern Iowa giving him that jumper, but instead of taking that little mid-range, he's taking it in, getting inside, and getting the layup opportunity.
Northern Iowa still the lead of 12. Guidry with the defense.
Big shot here for Illinois State. Cut it to 10 or 9. Different mentality.
And here's Guidry, a little pop-up. 14 points for Guidry. And Illinois State within 10.
I'll tell you what, Illinois State is using up a lot of energy right now. They're going deep in the tank to make this little run.
They have subs at the table. They're trying to get some stoppage to get them in there. They're getting stops.
Northern Iowa, all of a sudden, they've put the brakes on. They're trying to take some time off the clock, spreading the offense out, and spreading the defense out as well.
The only exception was Schneiderman's ill-advised quick shot, and that kind of started all this, and it's an offensive foul. Guidry runs over the freshman Brooks McCowan.
Now Guidry, a little upset with himself, but more than anything, just flat tired. Needed a break. Walked right over there, told Porter Mosier, put me down on the bench. Illinois State on that 6-0 run, using up a lot of energy. And Arnold goes out, Dana Ford goes out, Trey Guidry as well.
The Redbirds are trying to get something out of Plank and Alexander. Gruber with the kick out and a huge three for Pete Schmidt. He only had 9 all year coming in. He shoots it. He just didn't have that many opportunities. But he's got 2 in this game, Pipes. And that's a 13-point lead.
And a nice spot up by Schmidt out on the corner. Gruber really looking to score, but by looking so hard to score, he makes that defense come off of him.
Now Gruber's fouling inside as Eccles again going to the basket.
But one of the things you have to do when you're a guard on the perimeter, you throw it inside. The play's not over for you. Spot up on the outside. When Gruber draws that double team inside, smart enough and a good enough passer to kick it back out to the wide open and set up Pete Schmidt.
Eccles, a junior from Chicago. Again, just 46% at the line. That's 2 of 3 in this game, however. It's 16 in a game earlier this year against Evansville. Illinois State trying to reach back and find the second tank of fuel.
Hard to make a comeback when you're missing free throws. Illinois State now 4 out of 8. We missed 4, but 50%. You got to get them.
Jacobson, great look. Popped up, squares the shoulder, said blink, blink. 8 points for Jacobson.
The thing I don't think Ben Jacobson does is ever blink. He is stone cold on the offensive end.
Northern Iowa back up 14. Porter Mosier got a big win against his rival yesterday, Bradley, to advance in the tournament. Chris Piper, 51-37. Porter Mosier, first year in the league, 10-18 with the Redbirds, 4-14 during the regular season, but had the win over Bradley yesterday. It'll be the first time since Illinois State has been a Division I team that they will have back-to-back losing seasons. This guy was around winning teams at Creighton, though. And as mentioned, did a fabulous job at Arkansas Little Rock. Guidry back in there for Illinois State, trying to make one last push.
Isolate tackles on the post, but he's been better catching the ball at the high post.
We got a little boxing one going on here a little bit, maybe. Nope, they went straight man. Although Schmidt's kind of playing like a rover man, playing off Green. And Vince Green gets enough legs on that shot to get a roll. His first second half points. A little bit of a junk defense there by Northern Iowa.
They're the kings of the junk D's. You know? Greg McDermott will throw the whole kitchen sink at you.
Greg McDermott is the Fred Sanford of the Valley. He's got a lot of junk in the trap. Good call. Holding foul on Ford to grab the wrist of Pete Schmidt. Illinois State running out of time. Greg McDermott getting some help from everybody up and down the line, and he leads by a dozen out of time. 6:14 left. And you don't want to foul Northern Iowa because they are good at the line, 74%.
2-3, going to try to trap out it. Tough to force Northern Iowa to do things that they don't want to. They're pretty patient, pretty disciplined. Got a lot of good ball handlers on the floor. Schneiderman and Gruber can both step out.
8 to shoot. Jacobson. Over to Gidry, got the roll. 10 points for Jacobson. A perfect possession for Northern Iowa.
He just gets it done, doesn't he? I mean, Ben Jacobson finds a way to get the shot off. Full confidence in his game.
Vince Green comes back to get a shot. But Jacobson's the example of a kid that's just a little more athletic than when you look at him, you go, well, maybe, you know, he can bounce around.
Yeah, I don't think he gets the respect just by looking at him, but he is a heck of a basketball player.
.520 left. Northern Iowa calls a timeout to avoid a 5 count. So Illinois State still has life. Or can they come back from a 12-point deficit against a team that's won 18 games this year? We'll see. 12 points there, 53-41. Our next game, the 3 seed, Wichita State. Outstanding at shooting the ball in February. They will take on the Drake Bulldogs. Dr. Tom Davis is back in the college game.
Little initial full court pressure by Illinois State. Going to pick up man now, drop back. Get Northern Iowa to make a mistake on the offensive end. Pretty efficient second half so far by Greg McDermott's team.
Crawford, another great possession. Northern Iowa works the clock, and then they get a guard to go right at the defense. And Crawford has a chance for a 3-point play.
6'3" 3-man. He's big. He's strong. He's able to get inside the lane. And once he's in there, he's getting that shot off. We've seen him do that throughout the evening. Nice soft touch when he's inside. Do not want to get down against Northern Iowa.
Tell the trainer to start packing a bag. 12 points for Crawford. Balanced tonight for Northern Iowa. Gruber with 19. 12 Crawford. 10 Jacobson. They don't need Crawford reaching in 40 feet from the basket, 30 feet from the basket. Although that's just 16 fouls on Northern Iowa. No 1-and-1 yet for Illinois State. Northern Iowa with some outstanding wins this year. They were Creighton's first loss at the UNI Dome. We mentioned they were the only loss for Southern Illinois in the league. That happened on the last game of the regular season in league play. Gidry with a deep 3. Look it. Their season got going when they beat Iowa. At that time, Iowa slipped, but Iowa was 24th in the country when they went to the UNI Dome in December. And Northern Iowa whipped them, and that got them cooking.
Points, not a lot of points for State to make up. Now when you got Troy Guidry on the team.
Or Vince Green picking pockets.
Make it 10.
Does Illinois State have enough in the tank? Schneiderman on a press break. Greg McDermott wants an intentional foul. He's not going to get it. And actually, Illinois State's let Vince Green that committed the foul because he paid the price. Smashing into the support.
Well, Schneiderman going for the ball, or actually Vince Green going for the ball on Schneiderman, but good foul, trying to get to the ball. You're right, Vince Green lost his footing there and slid in.
He took the worst of it. And they're going to sub in. They're going to put Matt Miller in for Vince Green. As he's getting attended to on the Illinois State bench.
Well, can't afford to have him sitting over there very long.
10-point deficit for his team. And Matt Schneiderman at the line, only 88% for the year. In this league, you got to shoot 90 to top Blake Ahrens at 98%, leading the nation. 10 points ahead of Matt Schneiderman, who's 88, which would lead a lot of leagues.
Well, not many holes in that lineup for Northern Iowa when you're trying to find somebody who's a poor free throw shooter. Look, 67% might be that's the lowest with Crawford.
And Gruber's about the same. There you go. Free throw down. Schneiderman. 2 free throws there. 58-46. Northern Iowa back up by a dozen. 3:55 left in the game.
12 points on the season, but having a heck of a night here tonight.
All-conference selection. His season high 21 against Bradley. 19 tonight. His career high 23 against Iowa State. The discussion, evidently team fouls, I believe, getting discussion here with official scorer Scott Shoemaker. Eccles has 3 fouls. They have 3 fouls at the official table, and yet they announced 4 fouls. So this is involving Najib Eccles and the number of personal fouls that the young lad from Chicago has. Scott Shoemaker, longtime SID at Wichita State. Tournament veteran. Next year an exciting year. This year the Valley hosts a regional here in St. Louis. Next year the Missouri Valley will host the Final Four.
Final Four. Start asking for tickets now.
I can hear those people going, Piper works that league and they host the Final Four. Where's Chris? Missed by Guidry. Rebound by Gruber. There were a bunch of second chance opportunities for Illinois State early, and then Greg McDermott had a Boy Scout meeting, and that ended.
Gathered him around the campfire and laid down the law, didn't he?
Yep.
Well, he knows he's got 2 great seniors inside, Gruber and Schneiderman. He's needed to reaffirm to them their priorities.
Guidry trying to get to the line. He will. Crawford fouling.
Well, another good game for Trey Guidry. 17 points so far. 22 yesterday against Bradley. He has scored over 20 points in 3 straight games now. Junior.
Good free throw shooter. 86%, had a 25 make streak earlier this season.
You look at this Illinois State team, for the most part. When I say most part, actually the only senior that they have is Vince Green. It's going to be tough to replace him at the point guard spot, but I think what Porter Mosier did when he came into this program is he said, we have got to play on the defensive end, and he's probably substituted because of the defensive end and brought out some of his better offensive weapons, trying to teach them that they're going to have to play defense before they stay on the floor, and that's taking away some of their offensive punch, but yet building that foundation for better success down the road.
Guidry with 2 free throws. He'll go stand by Porter Mosier for just a moment. It's a little offense, defense, 2-platoon basketball here. Because he's going to sub him back in there as soon as Illinois State gets the ball back. Still a 10-point game and still a chance. This is a kick to reset the shot clock. Guidry wants to come back. Yeah, I'm not sure Porter Mosier said, well, they still have the ball. This kind of screws this up. But Guidry just went to the table and said, heck with it. Watch this. I'm in. Small lineup here, though, because Eccles came out.
Yeah, tough to know what you're going to get if you're going to get a dead ball situation each time. They definitely want a quicker team on the line, on the floor right now to try and trap this Northern Iowa team.
Gina Ford fouling. And Pete Schmidt, now there's the guy with it 62%, is the marked man to go to the line here, and he'll have 1-and-1.
Interesting strategy there to foul. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, and you're fouling a team that's very good from the free throw line, although you have fouled probably the worst free throw shooter on the floor for him at the paltry sum of 62%, which still is not too bad. Still a lot of time left to me. You got Trey Guidry out there on the floor, Vince Green.
Now you're down 4 possessions, but you could defend the shot clock. See what Schmidt will do. Schmidt misses the front end 1-and-1.
Oh, there you go. Always a roll of dice.
Vince Green, lightning quick. Now you got to do it on this end too, but Pete Schmidt with the steal.
Now, one of the problems also when you foul to stop the clock, you're most likely going to go down the opposite end and face a set defense. Whereas if you're scrambling, trapping, trying to get something to go, if you have a lucky break like you get when you get a missed free throw, maybe you get the turnover and go down in transition.
How important? This time Schmidt hits the free throw and earns the bonus. How important is that piece of paper right there for Porter Mosier? There's all kinds of secrets in that pocket. He's gone to that a whole bunch of times and looked in there. There it is.
Got some scribblings on there.
That's the secret to Porter Mosier's life right there in that pocket.
Now probably some points that maybe when you get in the heat of the battle, you look it up real quick and remind yourself of some thoughts that you had.
Now that's a quick way to get it back, is get Guidry a 3-point opportunity. Pretty fast here first step, Pipe.
He's fast by, and you know he likes to go with that left hand right at you. And one of the things that when you're a great shooter from the outside, it makes you that much more of a threat to be able to put the ball on the floor, because the defense has to stay straight up on him, and even more so with Trey Guidry, because he will pull up anywhere, anytime, and you can be right in his face and he'll do it.
Guidry 9 times over 20 points this year. He's got 22 in this game. Northern Iowa struggling with the press. Out of bounds to Northern Iowa.
Got to remember your clock at this point. Let's see if they decide to foul again.
I got a trap set. What a play. What a play by Gruber, slapping it up the floor to Jacobson.
Well, David Gruber has made every play for Northern Iowa. He has been fantastic.
Wow. What a heads-up play by David Gruber.
What a huge possession. Huge possession. If Illinois State gets that ball back, they can make it a 7-point game. Watch Gruber go on the floor. He knows where Ben Jacobson is. He just gets a finger on it, flips it his direction. And instead of going back down with a chance to go to 7, it's now an 11-point game for Northern Iowa.
What a heads-up play by the senior from Solon, Iowa, playing a little hockey. Our Rawlings play of the game. David Gruber swatting it toward the basket, thinking if I slap it down there, something good's going to happen. Ben Jacobson picks it up and scores. becomes a heartbreaker for Illinois State because they had him in jail in the backcourt. They had him in jail again, and they're like, did they score on that?
The kind that saps your strength, isn't it? Game over.
Northern Iowa looks like they're headed toward the semis. They'll play the winner of Drake and Wichita State.
2 missed free throws. Take it to 9. Or 8.
Or not. Rebound, Jacobson.
Illinois State's not going to go down with a fight, are they?
No.
There's no tomorrow for Illinois State after this game.
You know, what a year they've had, a disappointing year at 10 and 18. But do you realize, we talked about the big win that Northern Iowa had over Iowa that propelled them. They were an eyelash from beating the University of Illinois, Bruce Weber's team. It looks like they're going to win the Big Ten. Porter Moser at the U of I had Illinois beat. He had them down double digits in the second half. If they get a free throw make and one more possession, they win that game in early January.
Well, what a huge game that would have been for them. And then, you know, the next game they go and lose at home to Creighton by 1. I mean, that was a game that they had command of as well.
The season could have been much different. And this is a program that knows how to be a champion. They won back-to-back Arch Madness championships, Illinois State, under Kevin Stallings in 1997 and 98. Greg McDermott says he's seen enough. He brings out the fire extinguisher and calls timeout. 1:20 left in the game, 12-point lead. Porter Moser's team gave it a good fight. Their season is 1:20 away from being over. Illinois State staring down the barrel of their 19th loss. Their only road win at Northern Iowa. Porter Moser, though, has played on winning teams in this league. He knows how to win. He understands how to win in the Valley. I think it's a good hire by Perk Weisenberg to make the call and to put him in that chair.
No question, a lot of history at Illinois State, a lot of success. They take a little bit of time to turn it around, and when they do, be right back there. But to give credit to Northern Iowa and Greg McDermott, what they have done this season. They have been fantastic, solid, winning the games that, for the most part, that they're supposed to, taking care of business.
And yet, Pipe, it seems St. Louis becomes the watershed for an emerging program. Illinois State had its moments in St. Louis. Porter Moser wants to get back there. But we saw Creighton, when they took off in their program, become very good in St. Louis. Wichita State said the same thing last night at the banquet. Mark Turgeon said the next step is winning in St. Louis. Greg McDermott said the same thing. These guys have not been to semi since '97 and only been to the finals one time in '94. If Northern Iowa makes a showing here in Arch Madness, it can do wondrous things for their program.
Well, one of the things is a program, you don't want to be surprised if you win in the tournament. You want to expect it. You want to come in and be shocked if you ever go home early. And that's when you know you got your program going in the right direction.
Vince Green hustling, getting the steal with a minute to go. And they're going to foul Schmidt, who's getting plenty of opportunities at the foul line. He's 3 of 5. Time now to announce our GHP players of the game for Illinois State.
Trey Guidry, 22 points, matches his total from yesterday. He has been pretty much automatic when he has had a look from the outside. He got quick release and has been aggressive, looking for his shot against the defense. 22 points in the second half yesterday, 22 points in the game tonight.
And he'll be back. And for Northern Iowa, it's Herr Gruber. David Gruber, what a night he's had.
Oh, he has been fantastic. All over the glass. Inside, strong, staying patient. Kicking the ball out as well when he's been overplayed. Really doing a nice job of reading him. How about that play? That was the capper right there. He was down on the floor with a little shuffle to Ben Jacobson. 19.6 boards, but 8 of 11 from the field. Pretty pretty efficient basketball.
That is my favorite favorite play of the year thus far. Little hockey switch, step out by Schmidt. Illinois State gets it back. It's now 15-point lead at 43.8.
Well, we get Southern Illinois and Southwest Missouri State tomorrow in the first game.
There'll be a few athletes on the floor in that game.
Yes, it will be. Wow.
A lot of maroon and a lot of athletes.
Do not turn away because it's going to be going back and forth. The hockey game. And in Northern Iowa now going to take the first spot in the second game tomorrow. We'll see between Wichita State and Drake.
And a great matchup either way. If it's Wichita State split with Northern Iowa during the regular season, and if it's Drake, it's going to be an in-state rivalry again. (66-53). The advantage belongs to Northern Iowa. Greg McDermott came from the Division II ranks. North Dakota State. Prior to that, he was at Wayne State, Nebraska, as an independent. Did an awesome job there. And getting the job at Northern Iowa, and has done a remarkable job with the Panthers. Bringing back the glory days of Eldon Miller. Coming up, 9 o'clock tonight, 6th seed, the Drake Bulldogs, and Dr. Tom Davis against the Shockers of Wichita State and Mark Turgeon and Jamar Howard. The winner of that team will play Greg McDermott's team.
What do we have on the side of Northern Iowa? Garrett Crawford with 13, Ben Jacobson 12. Seems like he scored 30 though. He's always, you know, and every time they needed a bucket, shot clock's been winding down. He's been the one there. Pete Schmidt with a nice evening, 11 points.
Down 2 free throws. Dilligard will get a chance for free throws. And if you're Illinois State, you're going, wait a minute. If we can find a point guard, we got shooters. As Alexander comes back, Guidry comes back, but the key might be this kid going to the line, Greg Dilligard.
Yeah, no question. And he started out pretty strong in this game. You know, all of a sudden it occurred to me that the difference for Illinois State, we weren't talking about Greg Dilligard and Marcus Arnold and Najee Beckles much at all here in the second half. Northern Iowa there at halftime figured out a way to keep the ball out of their hands inside, keep them off the offensive boards, and that really was the turn for the Panthers.
Dilligard, his first second half point. Well, Northern Iowa now with a trip to the semis. This validates their 12-6 Valley regular season. Improves to being the 2 seed, not a fluke for the Panthers.
Yeah, it's so big. You know, you get to number 2. You don't want people saying, "Oh, well, it's a fluke." You beat Southern Illinois final game of the regular season to get that number 2. They come in here and take care of Illinois State. Obviously validate what they've done this season.
Greg McDermott is headed to the semi.